Hello and welcome back to the Little Corner Gardens. Today we're going to talk about chickens, why you might want to get chickens, why anybody would want to have chickens in their backyard, and maybe some reasons why you might not want to get chickens. So 5 reasons that you would want to get chickens. I think the biggest reason obviously is the eggs. The eggs are so good and they're a resource that you can use for your family, and you use them in so much stuff at your house. It is always amazing to have fresh eggs. So obviously that's number 1. Number 2, entertainment purposes. They're so cute. They're so funny, they're so sweet, they're fun to have around. And I live on a corner lot that is completely, here if you can see, completely exposed. My backyard is exposed to the entire neighborhood, but my garden and my chickens are entertainment for the whole neighborhood. People walk by here every single day and they're constantly looking for the chickens. They know their names and they bring their little kids, and there's like a rock. I don't know if you can see it on, oh yeah, you can see it. The big boulder right here that's on the city easement of my property. And the kids like to sit on that rock and they like to look for the chickens, and people sit over there and they rest from their walks and they just kind of soak in the garden, and it's so nice. Anyway, for entertainment purposes, definitely. A third reason to get chickens, to educate your kids. I think that before we got chickens, my kids didn't really understand where eggs and their food were coming from. Gardening has helped with that too. And I just think that it's such a good experience for kids, especially kids growing up in a city or suburban life, to understand where food comes from and that this stuff comes from hard work and taking care of animals, and it's really important work. That was number 3. Number 4, let me think of another thing. Well, yeah, I mean, to help the chickens out, because you know, I understand that there is a need for large farms so that we can keep the cost of our food down, so that we can make sure that we are able to feed our families buying things from the grocery stores. So when you subsidize those large corporate farms, then they are providing a service to us as a community. But let's be real, those chickens are not being treated well. We know that. But when you have your own chickens, they live in your yard and you care for them like you would a dog or a cat. Well, not quite, because they live outside, but they have their own house. So, and then you're interacting with them and it's so fun. It makes them happy. You have happier chickens. And number 5, let me think. Okay, I thought of it. I think the 5th reason, and at least the reason for me why I think that I will always have chickens, is just how calming they are to me, how much they do for me and my mental health, and how much joy they bring me just by existing in my presence. Maybe that sounds silly, but it's true. They really are just such amazing creatures. And before I got them, I didn't know that they were so sweet and that they were so interesting and they had so much personality. I didn't realize it until I got them. Okay, so now let's think about some things, some reasons why you might not want to get chickens. So number 1, you're not really saving money on eggs. You're actually probably spending more. Even last winter, I think it started in October, I don't remember how when it started, and I know that it lasted for forever. The egg prices were out of control. A lot of that had to do with the bird flu here in Iowa. It was a really big problem, and whole entire flocks were being wiped out by diseases, and that really affected the supply chain. And then also in winter, chickens don't lay as much in the winter. Granted, in factory farms, they do supplement light so that chickens will lay throughout the winter as well. And there's, of course, places that don't really get as cold, so the chickens don't have to use their energy to keep warm. But I think the bird flu is probably the biggest reason that the cost went up. But anyway, even before, when the cost wasn't so high, you're probably paying more to raise the chickens yourself than it would be to just buy the eggs at the store. But your eggs aren't going to be as good. Anyway, happy chickens are going to lay better eggs. But they're not going to be cheaper. So don't kid yourself on that one. Second thing that really kind of sucks is it's extra work. I had to pause because there was somebody walking by. I don't think they want to be in my video. Anyway, you have to take care of them. So it's work. It's just extra work. So if you already have a full-time job, a house to take care of, and some kids, it's just another thing that you're going to have to worry about on a daily basis. And sometimes things happen that you just have to put more effort into keeping them alive. And, you know, you have to remember to buy them food. And so it's an extra thing. It is work. Third thing is the poop. It's all over the place. They poop everywhere. And I let my chickens free range in the yard, and they do go on my patio and poop all over it. And then if I don't hose it off, the flies are everywhere and they're swarming everywhere, and that might be a huge deterrent to you. I know people have said that the poop is really dangerous. I think if you're only having like a small backyard flock, you really shouldn't worry about the poop affecting you. If you lived on a farm and you had like a crap ton of dust, if you just had like tons of dust and it was getting really, really dirty, then it could affect your lungs. And there's like certain things that you can get sick from having that, being around that kind of dust. But if you're only keeping a small backyard flock, and you should wear a mask when you clean your coop anyway. But it's something, you know. So if that's something that scares you, maybe you shouldn't get chickens. And then let me think. What's another reason that maybe you wouldn't want to get chickens? Well, the startup cost is kind of high. You have to have a nice coop. I mean, it doesn't have to be super nice. Mine is the first thing I ever built in my life. I'd never used a saw before, but I've decided I was going to build a chicken coop. Well, you know what? That's not true. I did build a shelf with my dad once. Technically, he used the saw the whole time. So I don't know if that counts. Anyway, the startup cost is kind of high because a coop is not cheap. And you can buy one of those cheap Amazon coops, but they're actually not very good. And I would be nervous that something would rip apart that thing and get to my chickens and kill them right away. So yeah, startup cost is kind of high. Have to be willing to either spend the money or invest your time and make your own coop and set up. Either way, it's going to take time. So that would be, it all takes time. And I suppose the last thing that might keep you from wanting to get chickens is that, look, you get attached to them and you love them and you treat them like a part of the family, and you fall in love with them, right? But they don't live that long. They have so many things that can kill them. And first of all, predators. Dogs, neighborhood dogs could get to your chickens. Cats, I've never really had issues with cats. Maybe when they're small, you might have problems. And I do have some little ones. out in my yard right now. And cats could probably eat them, but the big chickens are there too, and they would mess up a cat. But raccoons and possums, and there's fox that live nearby here that could potentially get your chickens. There's also diseases. I mean, there was the bird flu, and everybody was asking me, are you worried about the bird flu? And I said, yeah, I mean, I guess, but I'm not going to worry to the point where I'm not going to let my chickens live their life and eat grass. I was a little more cautious, but not to the point where I was going to sacrifice their happiness and their summer. So, and there's other diseases too, and there's other ailments that can happen to them that can actually kill them. And some of that stuff you don't know about until it happens. And it's no fun to have to deal with. A lot of times I end up bringing chickens inside my house to try to help them recoup from certain things. Like I had at one point Belle had a impacted crop. I think that's what it's called, where her crop was like clogged, and so I ended up having to get her crop bras so that she could digest her food properly. I had to have her in my house for a long time, and then the work that it takes to reincorporate them back into the flock, because chickens are savage to each other. So they will pick on a chicken and they don't remember because their brains are small and they're not the brightest. So, I mean, it's just a lot of work. I don't want to keep anybody from getting chickens because it really has been so much of a joy in my life, and it's brought so much joy to my neighborhood and my friends and neighbors, and I feel like I have definitely encouraged. Okay, hold on. Come on, babies. They need to get back in. They need to get back in. How do you get back in? There you go. Okay. Sorry, there was a little bit of drama getting Tinker and the chicks back into the maternity ward. Anyway, what I was saying, I certainly wouldn't want to discourage anyone from getting chickens for their backyard. I just want you to know the facts and the things that I found out from having them, so that if you do decide that adding chickens to your garden, your backyard, urban homestead, I guess, or suburban or whatever, wherever you live, if you want to do that, these are some things that I've learned. So hopefully that's helpful. Let me know in the comments if you like this video and if you want to see more stuff about that. I do plan on making a lot more videos based on my garden. It is, granted, the end of the gardening season, but you know, there is always more to think about in the garden. Hope you're having a good day. Come back and see me again. Bye for now. What are you doing, Muffet? That's not right. That's not how it goes. That's not where you're supposed to go. Go show her, Tinker. You want to crawl on top? Aw. Under the wing. Under. Silver, you're being very loud. Oh, there she goes. There she goes. Aww. Good job, Tinker. You're such a good mom.